If he comes home without catching a fish today, he better not return at all. These were the harsh words of the girl whose unfortunate husband, a fisherman, hadn't been able to catch a single fish for several weeks. As a result, the conditions at home were worsening, and now his wife was even considering leaving him. The fisherman was heading out to sea again today, hoping to try his luck once more. Would he be able to catch a fish today? What would happen at sea? Could he save his home? Would the fish of the sea come to his aid? Would the sea give him gold instead of fish? And if so, why? Let's find out. The last rays of the sun were falling on an old wooden house built by the sea. This was the home of the poor fisherman named Haroon. He sustained his household by catching fish from the sea. But for the past several weeks, he hadn't managed to bring back even a single fish. He was so poor that whenever the weather turned rough and the winds blew strongly, his wooden house would begin to shake. His wife's name was Saba. She had grown tired of their poverty and had started considering leaving her husband, though she hadn't told him this yet. That day, she stepped out of the house and sat near the shore, gazing at the waves and muttering to herself, "What kind of man have I married? Poor, penniless and useless." She fell silent, then continued thinking, "If he comes back empty-handed again today, I'll leave this house. There's nothing left here anymore anyway." As she was thinking this, she saw a boat approaching from the sea. Her husband was on it, heading toward the shore. As he brought the boat to land, Saba looked at it with hope, thinking maybe he had caught something this time. But again, the boat was empty. Haroon's disappointed face told the whole story. Once again, he had returned with nothing. Shame filled his eyes, and he couldn't meet his wife's gaze. Without saying a word, he began walking home. Saba stared at him angrily. As Haroon opened the door and stepped inside, she followed him in. Speaking rudely, she said, "All the fishermen in the village had their nets full today, and you, so cursed, haven't caught a single fish in 20 days." Haroon sat down against a wall with his eyes closed and replied in a defeated tone, "Saba, I'm trying, but luck isn't with me. Don't worry, everything will be fine tomorrow morning." Saba gave him a warning. "Listen to me carefully. If you don't catch a fish tomorrow, I will leave you forever and go back to my parents' home." She sat down with a sour face beside the utensils, possibly trying to hide food from him. Haroon said gently, "Saba, I know you'll never leave me." When she didn't respond, he continued, "I'm very hungry. I haven't eaten anything since morning. Can you please give me something to eat?" Saba shouted, "Where should I get food from? If you had earned something, maybe there would be food. I'm starving because of you two. Since morning. Living with you is worse than going back home or jumping into the sea and ending it all." Haroon immediately looked at her and then quietly stepped out of the house to ask a neighbor for some food. It was night now. The wind from the sea was hitting Haroon like the harshness of poverty hitting his door. The moment he left, Saba pulled out the food she had hidden in a clay pot, curry and bread, and quickly began eating. Haroon reached the door of a fellow fisherman named Shiraz and knocked. Shiraz came out. Haroon asked, "Brother Shiraz, we have no food at home. Could you give me something to eat?" All the village fishermen knew Haroon's bad luck. Nothing ever got caught in his net anymore. Most avoided him. Shiraz didn't want to deal with him either. He said coldly, "There's nothing at home, and don't come back here again." From the door, Haroon could see the piles of fish Shiraz had caught, ready to be sold in the morning. Haroon pointed at them and said, Allah has blessed you with so many fish today. Could you give me just one? I'm not asking for charity. I'll return 2 fish for everyone you lend me as soon as I catch something." Shiraz scoffed. "You can't catch even 1 fish and you'll return 2? Get lost." Ashamed, Haroon went to another fisherman's house, but he was humiliated and turned away there too. Defeated, Haroon wandered back to the waves and sat by the sea, tears in his eyes. Looking up at the sky, the stars appeared blurry to him. Through his sobs, he cried out, "Oh Allah, please help your servant. Give me sustenance. Everyone else's nets are full. Why not mine? Please, help me, Allah, help me." Tears soaked his face. The sea soaked his clothes. Hunger was draining his strength. He felt like everything was lost: hope, food, and even the fish. The waves kept crashing and retreating. In that cycle, an old man named Atif Baba noticed Haroon. He said, "Son, the tide is rising. Sitting here could be dangerous. Get up." Haroon sat with his head bowed, so lost in thought that he didn't hear the old man's voice. The old man spoke again. "Son, is everything all right?" When Haroon still didn't respond, the old man placed a hand on his shoulder and said gently, "If there's something troubling you, tell me." Haroon looked at him with teary eyes but said nothing. The old man continued, "A man should never be afraid of circumstances. He should never give up. Now tell me, what's wrong?" With a trembling, tearful voice, Haroon finally spoke. "Is there anything to eat?" Smiling kindly, the old man replied, "Is that all? I'll be right back." He went home, and Haroon sat on the sandy shore, waiting. Soon the old man returned with some food in his hands. "Here you go. This is for you," he said. Haroon looked at what the man had brought: some cooked lentils, vegetables, and 3 pieces of bread. Seeing the food brought tears to his eyes again. He thanked the old man and quickly made his way home. As he entered, he said to his wife, "Saba, look, I brought food." Saba had already eaten. She took 2 of the 3 pieces of bread and most of the lentils and vegetables for herself, giving Haroon 1 piece of bread and a small portion. Yet Haroon was still content. After the meal, he fell asleep early, determined to head out at sunrise once again to try his luck at sea. The waves crashed against the shore as if singing an old forgotten song. The sky was painted in soft shades of pink, like a beautiful canvas captured before the rain. Haroon set out early with his worn-out boat, determined to reach deeper waters he usually feared. His boat wasn't strong enough to sail that far, but today, for Saba's sake, he was willing to risk his life. He cast his net, thinking, "Either I catch something today, or this boat sinks and the sharks finish me." A heavy burden weighed on Haroon's heart. He couldn't shake off Saba's harsh words from the previous night. "I'd rather return to my parents' home or jump into the sea than stay with you. And if you come back empty-handed tomorrow, I'll leave you forever." Sitting in his boat, Haroon stared at the net, silently begging for a fish to appear. "If I come home empty-handed again, it'll be over. Saba will leave." That thought erased all fear of death from Haroon's heart. He no longer cared if the sea took him. He just wanted to catch something. Anything. His love for Saba, though true, wasn't enough for her to stand by him. Perhaps fate was showing him who she truly was. That might be why, even after hours, he still hadn't caught a single fish. By noon, the summer sun was blazing. Still, his net remained empty. Around 3 p.m., he noticed another boat nearby. The man on it looked familiar. It was Shiraz. The same Shiraz who humiliated Haroon the night before and shut the door in his face. After selling his fish at the market earlier, Shiraz had returned to the sea. His boat was much larger, stronger, and well-equipped. Haroon saw that Shiraz's boat was full of fish, and his net was still pulling in more. While leaving, Shiraz showed Haroon a huge fish, big enough to earn a month's living, just to shame him. Haroon's heart sank. He knew he would return home empty-handed once again. And that's exactly what happened. That night, he hesitantly opened the door, afraid Saba might have left. But to his surprise, she was still there. Trying to cover his failure, he lied. "I caught a huge fish today, but just as I was pulling it onto the boat, it slipped back into the sea. I'll get it tomorrow." Lying on the bed, Saba said nothing. Haroon poured himself a glass of water, looked at her and whispered, "Saba, I knew you wouldn't leave me. I won't give up. You'll see. Good days will come." But Saba had already made up her mind. She had packed her clothes in a trunk and was just waiting for dawn to leave by train. Haroon had no idea. He thought her presence was a sign of hope, of support in hard times. He wasn't as worried as before. He went back to the same seashore where the old man had brought him food yesterday. But today, the old man was nowhere to be seen. Haroon's anxiety grew. He looked around and asked himself, "If the old man doesn't come today, how will I bring food for Saba?" Time passed. The night deepened. The stars shone brighter, the air grew colder, and the waves grew louder. It became clear. The old man was not coming. Haroon returned home empty-handed, for the first time in his life. Saba had already eaten and gone to sleep. Haroon, eyes wet, stared at the empty pots, hoping for a miracle. One pot looked oddly placed, like it had been hidden. He opened it. To his shock, it was full of cooked rice. "Saba, look, rice," he almost called out, but stopped. He understood. She had hidden this food for herself. He remembered that a month ago, after his last successful catch, he had bought some rice. It hadn't been cooked since. Now he knew she had saved it just for herself. Still, he wasn't upset. In fact, he was glad that at least she didn't go to sleep hungry. So he quietly ate the leftover rice she had hidden. Then he lay on his bed, watching the waves through the window, thinking, "I've been hungry all day, and she still hid food from me." Lost in those thoughts, he fell asleep, and morning arrived at the sea. That morning was unlike any other. It was going to reveal Saba's true face and change everything. It was a morning meant to be a lesson for all those who abandon their partners during tough times. With the first light of dawn, Haroon got up to work once again. Saba was still asleep. Unaware that he was seeing her as his wife for the last time, Haroon stepped out to prepare his boat. He was ready to take an even greater risk today, to go farther into the sea than ever before. Meanwhile, Saba woke up and left for the railway station, leaving Haroon and their home behind. Forever. As the sun climbed higher, Haroon threw his net into the sea once again. Same hope, same silent wait. Then suddenly, the net began to shake. It felt heavy. Haroon pulled with all his strength, and what he saw made his eyes widen. Inside was a large fish, and with it, tiny baby fish. The mother fish stared at Haroon with deep, restless, pleading eyes. Her babies flailed helplessly in the net. Haroon's heart softened. He gently opened the net and released the baby fish into the sea. They swam frantically around their mother, but she was still trapped. The babies desperately wanted their mother to be free. Haroon understood their silent cries, but he was torn. He needed this fish to survive. Still, the mother fish thrashed in his boat, while her babies circled outside, eyes full of sorrow. He looked at them, then back at the fish. If I let her go, I'll have nothing today. But if I keep her, I'll be breaking my own heart. The fish was worth enough to feed him for a whole month. But then, Haroon took a deep breath, picked up the fish, and gently threw her back into the sea. Tears rolled down his cheeks. "Go," he said. "Just go." For the first time, he didn't feel like just a fisherman. He felt human. Before diving into the depths of the sea, the big fish looked at Haroon for a moment, as if she wanted to thank him. The baby fish were expressing their love for their mother. Then, the mother fish took her babies and disappeared into the depths of the sea. Haroon sat in his boat, head in hands. "What have I done?" he whispered. Then added softly, "Even if I'm not happy today, at least that fish and her babies are." Just then, he heard a noise. Something had bumped into his boat. He leaned over and saw something glinting in the water. Gold. A small piece of gold. It was the same fish. She had returned, carrying the gold in her mouth. Haroon picked it up, and with one final splash, the fish disappeared. That gold was enough to meet his needs for many weeks. Haroon returned home in joy, only to find silence. "Saba?" he called out. No answer. A strange fear filled his heart. And then, he remembered her words. "If you come back empty-handed tomorrow, I will leave." His heart skipped a beat. Could she really have left? Haroon held his head in his hands. No, this can't be true. Restlessness took over. He rushed outside, looked around, but Saba was nowhere to be found. Then he remembered. He had her father's phone number, but Haroon had no mobile phone, and he didn't even have money to make a call. So he took the gold he had received from the fish, went to the nearest market, and sold it. With that money, he used a public phone to call Saba's father. A harsh voice answered. It was him. Without any emotion, he said, "Saba is here. She's staying with us now. And she doesn't even want to see your face again. Don't ever try to contact her again." Days passed. No matter how hard Haroon tried, he couldn't win her back. And just like that, their relationship ended. Forever. On that day, their bond wasn't just broken emotionally, it was broken legally. That night, Haroon sat alone by the sea. He had money, but no Saba. He finally understood. Saba had never been with him for love. She had only stayed because she thought he might bring wealth. The moment the money was gone, so was she. Those who are destined to leave, they leave, no matter what. But those who are truly yours, they stay, through good days and bad. It's only during hard times that you find out who really stands by you. And those who leave in your darkest hour were never truly yours to begin with. If this story touched your heart, let us know in the comments below. We'll keep bringing you more powerful and emotional stories like this one.